Yeah, a lot of people in Hollywood judged us. And, at the end of the day, man, it's just life. It is what it is. They judge us. They judge the shit out of us, though. They looked at the lyrics. They thought about the name 3-6 Mafia. They call us devil worshippers. And when we was out there trying to rehearse at the time, all these people from ABC walked in. It was like, could have been like 30 people. And it was just like writing down stuff. Everything we did, they wrote it down. If I did the microphone like this, I did like this.
Watching you to make sure you didn't make any like false moves, watching you the whole time you were at the ceremony.
They were so nervous, man. They were so nervous. Like, man, I kept saying, don't cuss, don't cuss.
Are you serious?
And even though we didn't cuss, they still bleeped us out because they thought we cussed. But, like I said, man, we professional. We came in professional. You know what I'm saying? We came in ready to rock the house. First rap group ever performing at the Oscars.
So I'm going to start with a question that I ask everybody. What are 3 landmark life events that have made you the person that you are today?
3 events, things that happened to me in my life, what you're saying? I would say reading music books when I was a young kid. I read a lot of music books. Okay. I would say advice from my parents, my mom and my dad. Mm-hmm. And praying to God.
And praying. Okay. How do you pray, or how did you pray?
How did I pray?
Yeah.
Every day, kneeling down, walking, I'm praying. I could be talking to somebody and be saying a prayer, in my head.
Yeah.
All times.
By the way, I've read hundreds of memoirs. I'm holding your book right here. This is honestly one of the best ones I've ever read. I'm not kidding.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think people will be really surprised at the depth and the kind of the insight and reflection that you display in the book.
Thank you. Wow.
When I was reading about your early life in North Memphis, the way that you made it sound was like every single day was kind of a fight for survival, and not just a fight for survival, but a fight to stay out of the criminal justice system. The way that it came across to me as the reader is almost like being sucked into quicksand on a regular basis. Yes. And that sounds exhausting, like, honestly. I mean, is that what it felt like for you?
Everyday life. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. We had some good times too.
Yeah.
But just that neighborhood and the people I was around, those good times could turn bad at any time. Mm-hmm. Something good going on, all of a sudden, by the blink of an eye, things can go left.
So were your parents aware that was you and your brother and your sister's experience on a daily basis, or were they just so caught up in, I guess, surviving themselves that they weren't really dialed into like your experience?
Well, say a little bit of both. I mean, we stayed together, so yeah, they definitely knew what was going on. But a lot of things that I was going through the streets and trying to sell drugs here and there, I kept that on the low. We kept all of that stuff on the low. So just like I said, a little bit of both.
Okay. Your brother, Project Pat, said something really interesting on Vlad TV. He said that in the neighborhood where you guys grew up, a lot of people looked up to you, both of you, I guess, but he was talking about him specifically because you had a present father and almost nobody else did.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah.
It's like that in the hood. Fathers weren't around. Very rare, to see a whole full family together. It's always with the mom, or the kids were staying with the grandma or auntie or something like that. So, yeah.
You know what's interesting is that I pulled a quote from the book where you said, I would always tell my mom, I've got to get ready because I'm going to be a big music producer. I'm going to have a big house. I'm going to have a lot of money. I'm going to have a couple girlfriends. Not a girlfriend, but a couple of girlfriends.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what's interesting about that is that you didn't say, I hope that I have this, or I wish I could have this. You said, I'm going to have this.
Yes.
And what's so interesting to me about that is that everybody that I interview, no matter whether they're in sports, music, film, like whatever it is, health, they all have the same thing in common. And that is that they all were able to believe in a vision before it actually materialized in the physical world.
Yeah, I was very confident in focus, to make it. I knew it was going to happen.
You knew it was going to happen.
I knew it was going to happen.
So explain to me what that is. Like the difference between wanting it to happen and knowing that it's going to happen. What gave you that sense of knowing?
I was very growing up just in a very religious family, and I just felt like I was a prophet. I knew when things were going to happen, and I knew I was going to be this. It's kind of hard to explain, in so many words, but
yeah,
my mom would tell me all the time, I didn't know what the hell you were talking about. And I was just like, this is going to happen.
right.
That's kind of where my heart was at. I knew what I wanted to do in life, and that was it. It's like music. That was it.
Did your brother ever thank you and say, you know what? I have to thank you. If it wasn't for you, I would not be like where I am today. I don't know where I would be. God, who knows? But like, has he ever thanked you for that?
Oh, yes. Lots of times.
Yeah. So I want to talk about in 2006 when 3-6 Mafia won the Oscar for Best Original Song.
Yes.
You describe it a very strange experience in the book. You say that you came off stage and I guess Gayle King was standing backstage to interview you when you came off the stage, and she said out loud, "This is a sad day."
Yeah.
Like out loud in front of you before she started interviewing you. And it's interesting because my first thought was, okay, why would she do that? And I was thinking, I'm like, why would she do that? Why would she do that? And the only thing that I can come up with, and tell me what your thoughts are, is that she took umbrage with some of your lyrics about women, and it bothered her that you were being elevated for that. Not specifically that song, not "It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp," but just like your whole body of work, right?
Yeah, a lot of people in Hollywood judged us. And at the end of the day, man, it's just life. It is what it is. They judge us. They judge the shit out of us, though. They looked at the lyrics. They thought about the name 3-6 Mafia. They called us devil worshippers. And when we was out there trying to rehearse at the time, all these people from ABC walked in. It was like, could have been like 30 people. And it was just like writing down stuff. Everything we did, they wrote it down. I did the microphone like this, I did like this.
Watching you to make sure you didn't make any like false moves, watching you the whole time you were at the ceremony.
They were so nervous, man. They were so nervous. Like, man, they kept saying, don't cuss, don't cuss.
Are you serious?
And even though we didn't cuss, they still bleeped us out because they thought we cussed. But, like I said, man, we professional. We came in professional. You know what I'm saying? We came in ready to rock the house. First rap group ever performing at the Oscars. We were super excited. We came in, we was focused. We didn't come in all high and drugged up. You know what I mean? We wasn't on, even though the stuff we talked about, we came in with the suits on, so professional. We came in on time. And I ain't gonna lie, the producers and a lot of people behind the scenes was loving it. It was like, man, you guys are really cool, man. I thought you guys were gonna be some crazy rap group coming in with guns out, but you guys are really professional and smart, at that young age. It's like, man, you guys are smart and cool. Everybody loved us, you know what I'm saying? So I can understand why people would, Gayle and other people would be like, what the fuck? 3-6 Mafia. I mean, I get it. If I was if I was her, I would be like, 3-6 Mafia, sipping on some shit, like, you guys talk about all these drugs, hard out here for a pimp. Like, what the hell is this? At this big Academy Awards, show. So, it scared a lot of people. They didn't know us personally. Like, I think if a lot of people would have set us down and interviewed us and just talked to us, I just had dinner or lunch or something, just like, or have a drink or something, just have a conversation and get to know us. They've been like, oh man, these guys are really actually, they own their own publishing, they own all their masters. That we did everything. We did the managements, we was the managers. We did the managers, we booked the shows. A lot of people didn't know that. They just thought we were just some crazy drugged up rap group, which we was, we did what we did. Don't get me wrong, we did what we did, but at the end of the day, we was very, very professional about our business. When it came to stuff like the Academy Awards, the BET Awards, any award show or any ceremony where we had to, we know how to turn it on and turn it off. You know what I mean?
Right, of course.
Yeah.
But you said something else interesting. You said Black people were not happy for us and white people were happy and excited for us.
Yes, it was a lot of black actors.
But what the fuck? Like, what do you think? Like, what was that about?
You know what? I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, and it was kind of like I've been to California a little bit, but I never been around actors like that. So I was just like, what the, I was asking John Singleton, I was like, man, these people hating on us like crazy. And John Singleton even said himself, he's like, you feel the hate? You feel the hate? He said, don't worry about it, man. They just mad because they ain't got one. And I was like, damn.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it was a lot of mugs. I mean, a lot of mean mugs. I walked into the Vanity Fair party. It was just a lot of black actors and actresses, mean mug, like, and then Steven Spielberg was like, congratulations. John Travolta was like, congratulations.
Right.
I was like,
and Will Smith was not a happy camper. Will Smith, by the way, is who they should have been monitoring at the Oscars and not you.
Hey man, what he did is what he did, but he ran up. He was like, man, I'm just mad because y'all got one before me.
Right.
I mean, he could have been a joke, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, I don't know him. I grew up listening. First of all, when I seen him, I was like, man, I grew up listening to your music, man. It's an honor to meet you. And he shook my hand out, but he was like, man, what the hell? Y'all got one before me, man. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, he could have been joking. He a comedian too, but I didn't take it like that because I'm thinking like people are gonna be like, congratulations, because he didn't say that. You see what I'm saying? John Travolta walked up to me. He said, congratulations. Steven Spielberg said, congratulations. George Clooney, which he had won one, he said, congratulations. Like a lot of those actors was like, congratulations. Nobody black walked up to me and said, congratulations, that I can remember. It maybe was, but I mean, like a lot of that stuff was just kind of weird that night. I was just like, damn, this is weird.
That is weird.
Maybe this is what Hollywood is all about. But I don't let things get me down because 3 6 Mafia as a group as a coming up, we always been against all odds. We always had doors slammed in our faces. We always had people saying, oh, don't mess with those guys. They're devil worshipers and all that stuff. So I was used to it. But whatever,
So here's an interesting thing that I think it was in 2003, wasn't Eminem the first rap artist to win an Oscar for Best Original Song?
Yes.
Okay. So do you kind of feel like he broke that glass ceiling for you guys to even be able to be nominated, like to even be in that conversation, to be nominated for an Oscar?
I would say yes. You know what I'm saying? He when he won, maybe some people was like, okay, rap ain't all that bad as it is. You know what I mean? It's actually good for film. It's good to be nominated for film. His song actually has something. It was a song for the movie. It's an original song.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't say exactly what people behind the scenes, what they want for their movies or how they looking at things, but we wrote the song for the movie.
Yeah.
We want it. So, I mean, like, it is what it is.
Did he reach out to you and congratulate you at all because you had that in common?
No, I never heard.
Are you serious? That's surprising to me.
I don't know him personally. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. You also made a statement that people came up to you after you won and said, hey, I can hook you up with my doctor. He'll get you anything you want. People started offering you drugs. Do you feel like there's an agenda in Hollywood or an agenda within the music industry to get artists hooked on drugs?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's like nobody was like trying to get me hooked on drugs. I mean, I think folks just like, hey, you want some weed? You guys looking for anything? When you go to parties, people just ask you, man, you want a drink? You want some weed? You want coke? I would go to a lot of these Hollywood parties and they just be offering me, like, I went to this Hollywood party. This guy had this wood grain box. He's walking around with this wood grain box. He's like this, right? Like a waiter. So I'm thinking like a drink or something. He puts it in my face. You want some coke? You know what I mean? I'm looking like, what the fuck? I've never seen nothing like this. I'm from Memphis. I never seen nothing like this. Like nobody walking around with a tie and they hair slicked back and all nice dressed up like they at a restaurant.
Like
like they bringing drinks. They bringing coke. And then the cocaine was like watermelon coke and cherry coke and blueberry coke. And I was like, how the hell y'all mix the coke with the flavor? Like, what kind of coke is this?
Right. It's normalized.
I didn't touch it. I was like, oh, I'm not getting that cocaine, man. You know what I'm saying? No, sir.
By the way, I read in the book, I didn't know anything about the story of Len Bias until I read your book. Yes. So as soon as I finished your book, I actually watched a couple of nights ago a documentary on Len Bias. Mm-hmm. And seeing what a phenomenal basketball player he was. And then that moment in the documentary where you see him getting his Boston Celtics jersey. He's the #1 draft pick. They're saying he's going to rival Michael Jordan. He's one of the greatest players to ever live. 2 days after being drafted, dies from complications from cocaine. It's like probably one of the most tragic stories I've ever seen in my life. And yeah, I'm bringing it up for people who won't know when they watch or listen to this, that's what kept you away from cocaine and from hard drugs throughout your career.
That's the main reason. I seen that as a youngin', I was like, I ain't never doing. I didn't know what it was. I'm like, cocaine.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? What? Like I told myself that day as I was watching the TV, I said I would never do cocaine, whatever that shit is. And then people started offering me coke. As I was growing up in Memphis, I would never touch it.
I told that story to my son. He's a basketball player. We were riding home yesterday, and he knows every basketball player that's ever lived. And I told him that story, and I'm hoping that it stays in his head. So I think it's a really powerful story, and I'm glad that it's in your book. I think it'll really resonate with a lot of people, for sure.
I appreciate that. That's what I was trying to do, inspire people and let them know that life is not always glitter and glam, in this music business or just any kind of business where you're on the spotlight. It's like a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I get from it.
Yeah. A lot of stress.
What are the downsides? Like, it's interesting because you said when you met your wife, one of the things that made you fall in love with her is that you felt safe. Like you felt like you could trust her. You felt safe. And I got the feeling that was the first time you'd felt that way in a really, really long time, if ever.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, cause, I talk about it in the book as well. Like I had this girlfriend of mine, she set me up, she drugged me. And, cause I would say she did because I fell asleep and I had never slept that long. I was like, damn, I had never slept. Like, I felt like I blacked out and I woke up, all my money was going out of my pockets, and my car, my tires were on flat. And she was like, well, what happened? I was like, why is all my money? I'm in your house.
Yeah.
I'm in your bedroom. It's her house, her bedroom, and all my money's gone. I didn't take your money. Who took my money? You know what I mean?
And you always think about that happening to women. You don't often think about something like that happening to men.
Yeah, it happens, man. In this business, you can't let like when I go to clubs, they bring me out some bottles. If anything's open. Ever since then, I would never drink out of an open bottle. Anybody got an open bottle, I'm not drinking.
Same.
You know what I'm saying? Watching my drinks, watching everything that I do, watching my food. Like I'm on some paranoia. I'm looking over my shoulder. Like that taught me a lesson.
You never forget that. It happened to me in Mexico.
Mm.
It happened to me in Mexico. I was at a bar and we're with a bunch of girls, a bunch of guys, and someone tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, your drink is at the bar. And I didn't even drink. I was like, everyone's like, come on, we're in Cancun, have one drink. I'm like, okay, I'll get a Bacardi and Coke, whatever. And because I didn't watch the person hand me the drink, I took a few sips, the room started spinning. And it was. And I never drank again. Like I never drank alcohol again after that. That was it for me. Done. One and done.
Sorry.
So, and it never, nothing happened to me because I knew to go back to my hotel room and lock myself in my room. And then I flew out the next morning. I was like, I'm out of here. Never went back to Mexico. never had a drink again. That was the end for me. So I want to talk about Mac Miller. You tell a story about being in the studio with him and him offering you cocaine and then him calling you up the next day and apologizing for offering it to you, saying, I didn't know that you didn't do that. I'm sorry. And a month later, he was gone. And you say that you wish that you would have said something, anything like that. Maybe it would have put a bug in his ear to stop or to think about stopping. Like if you could go back to that moment, what would you say to him?
We was in the studio and he had a party pack. I don't know if you know what a party pack is?
You said he had a bunch of different drugs, like in a box or something.
Box. Yeah, they call it. Sometimes they put it in a bag. You put it in a box. It's called a party pack. It's like every kind of drug you could take, and it's in a pack or a box or whatever. So he pulls out this box. He pops a couple of things, and and he offered me some coke. And if I could go back to the hands of time, I would have snatched that box. And I know he probably would have tried to fight me, but I would have snatched that box and I would have put it in. I would have took that box and dumped it in the toilet and flushed it. Because I knew Mac Miller when he was like 17. You know, I threw his first 18th birthday party at my studio. He turned 18. I threw him a party in my studio. And he's like a little brother to me. And I just I hated to see him do that. You know, he was like around 25, 26, you know, before he passed. So, you know, he's a grown ass man. So I just seen what he was doing. I didn't say anything. I just like, nah, I'm cool, bro. You know, I'm straight. Let's finish the music. But I wish I could have. I swear if I could turn back the hands of time, I'd snatch that box, man. Throw that box across the street somewhere and say, bro, look, you know what? Get mad if you want, but I love you, bro. You know what I'm saying? I want to see you, you know, I want to see you alive. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk. Like, let me tell you some stories about my drug usage. Let me tell you some stories about, you know, growing up in 3-6 Mafia and the whole Memphis scene and what I went through and, you know, how things can turn up if you do the wrong drug or you do overdose or whatever. You know, I wish I could, man.
Yeah. And then Gangsta Boo, who was part of 3-6 Mafia, she also died from complications from cocaine. Mm-hmm. And you said the same thing, that the last time you saw her, you didn't really get into it, but that you kind of wish that you would have said something, done something. You carry the weight of a lot of people's, I guess, downfalls or demise on your shoulder. You feel survivor's guilt.
Yeah, it tore me up. I ain't gonna lie, I'm still tore up. I'm tore about everything, you know. You know, I saw her a few, like maybe almost like a month before she passed. Could have been a month or some weeks. We did a show together. Whatever I said in the book, but it was very close. It was just like, yeah, she was really, really high. She was very high. You know, everybody could see it. I saw it. And I, you know, like I said, I know Gangsta. I've been knowing Gangsta Boo all my life. So pretty much all my life, you know, since I was like 20, 21. And I knew, you know, I know the coke face. You know what I mean? I could tell if somebody's on cocaine.
Right.
So, you know, yeah, I hated to see her like that because, you know, we older now, you know what I'm saying? And I think she's in her 40s. And I hated to see that because I knew she had been doing it since she was like she'd been doing it at a young age. She was doing cocaine. I mean, could have been like 17 years old when she was doing it. And I hated to see her like that. I mean, like it killed me because it took me back, maybe kind of rewind. I feel like I was in a time machine going back in the 90s when I used to see Gangsta Boo on coke. And I used to, you know, when she was in the group, I used to get on her ass. I see her on some cocaine, I'd like, throw that shit away. You know what I mean?
Right.
Immediately. And yeah, I wish I could have talked to her though, you know, because we had a great conversation about life and everything. And she was talking about, you know, my mom passed and stuff like that. And she was like, man, you know, I saw you at the show, Juicy, and I know you was going through a lot of pain, man. And that's why I gave you that hug, man. Like, man, you're a strong black man. She was just telling me, you strong, man, you know, to be performing. You know, your mom had just passed, you know, like you know, and I was like, yeah, it was tough. I was crying. I was really hurt inside. I didn't know what to do. I was losing my mind, man. I was just so messed up. I was drinking every day and just trying to do anything I anything I could possibly do to cope with not thinking about it. But yeah, we talked about that. So yeah, rest in peace, Gangsta Boo. It was terrible. And I you know, yeah.
And by the way, my condolences about your mom.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. I want to address women with you, if that's okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you had a very close relationship with your mom. You had quite a lot of respect for her. You're married. You have a daughter in addition to a son. So I listened to a lot of your lyrics, like a lot of your songs I knew, like the party songs, you know, I knew the beat and everything, but I listened to a lot of the lyrics of a lot of the more hardcore stuff. Yeah. And I'm listening to it and I'm like, I'm trying to process it. And I'm like, how do I broach this subject? Right. Because I've always had like a strong sensitivity to misogyny and to women being, I guess, put down or called derogatory names but I want to try to understand, like, I don't want to come at it from a judgmental perspective. I want to try to understand, like, is it when you, and I guess even other artists that you work with, when you're writing those kinds of lyrics, right? Is it a character to you, or Is it another side of your personality, or are you expressing something that you saw, that you've seen in your life? And so you're like telling stories about the kind of people that you've seen and you've dealt with. Like, where is that coming from? And is it a reflection of how you view women as a whole?
I would say I don't, as far as a reflection of how I view women as a whole, no, I would say no, that's not true. But a lot of things in my life that I rapped about is a lot of stuff I went through and stuff I seen in my neighborhood. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
There was a lot of stuff going on. It was crazy in North Memphis. It depends on what you're talking about. You have to give me a line like, hey, on this song you said da 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 da, and I can say, oh, the reason why I wrote that lyric is because boom, you know what I'm saying? So I need like, you had any?
Okay, so I'm not. So these are like referring to women as bitches, as hoes, like sexually graphic lyrics. It paints a picture in my mind's eye of women being little more than decorative objects and sexual objects, as opposed to like full human beings, right? So I'm trying to understand like what your perspective is and like how you see it. How I'm trying to see it through your eyes, right?
Okay. Well, for instance, like that chick I told you it was my girlfriend, right? This chick I was talking to. She robbed me. She drugged me and she robbed me. And then
Not funny at all. I don't know why I'm laughing.
It's just pretty scary. And I walk outside and my all four of my tires on my car was flat.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But they didn't cut the tires, they just let the air out. Didn't understand. I didn't get it. It was just like, okay, you're gonna take all my stuff, you're gonna rob me, you drug me, and you put my tires on flat.
Mm-hmm.
That was ratchet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That was like, oh, this bitch is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Let me get out of here quickly. You know, so I got on the phone and I got the hell out of there. I never called her again. She was like, oh, you think? And then she texted me. Well, they didn't have texts back then. But she called me. It's like, oh, you think I robbed you? You know, I didn't do anything. It wasn't me. It could have been my brother. Or so. I was like, what? It could have been your brother. Like, you didn't say that back at the house. You just said you didn't know what happened.
Right.
So, you know, saying that experience was like very, very bad for me. So I left that alone. I was like, man, forget that chick. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to talk to her no more. So, you know, and I've been through a lot of little crazy situations. What I had, you know, some other people that girls try to set me up, you know, hey, he coming over here right now, robbing us, you know, like it's been like a few other situations that I've been involved in. So, you know, like a lot of times, like I say, like I need to know what lyric, if I'm talking about a certain song. And then, you know, that's just,
quite frankly, it would sound weird coming out of my mouth. I'm not gonna,
okay, all right. But like I said, that's those songs, you know, those songs come from some experiences I've had in my lifetime.
Okay.
You know, that's what I rap about, is rap about a lot of my experiences.
Understood. Yeah. And how come you broke up with your wife, Regina, if you thought that she was really like the one? Why did you guys break up before you ultimately got back together?
We just on different pages. You know, I was on one page and she was on another page. So, you know how things go. You know, lovers be in love and then they just be like, oh, forget him. And I'd be like, okay, all right. So
yeah.
And,
okay.
I moved back.
I got you.
Yeah. Nothing serious though, like that though.
Okay. And there's something else you talk about that I thought was interesting. You say that very early in your career, you actually called yourself Notorious Juicy J. And you sampled the song Juicy Fruit on one of your mixtapes, right? And then it was like, that was before Notorious B.I.G broke and came on the scene. So you thought like, well, even though I'm thinking that I'm just known in Memphis, maybe he got wind of what I was doing and he kind of poached some of my ideas. But did it ever occur to you that it was Sean Combs that actually heard it?
Did he? I mean,
yeah.
He actually heard my tape?
No. What I'm saying to you is you suspected that it was Notorious Big that heard it. Yeah. But I'm thinking what went through my head was that it was Diddy who heard it, because he was the one who actually came up with sampling Juicy Fruit for Notorious Big's
He produced that track. I mean, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not even saying that they did, but you know, when you're a young person, because I was like 19, it could have been 18 or 19, you always gonna think, oh man, somebody's stealing my stuff. You know what I'm saying? Even if that's not the case, because keep in mind, Juicy Fruit, that song was not my song. It wasn't Diddy's song. It was nobody's song. It belonged to a group called, I think it was called Mute or something. So that song had been out, you know, before I even created my name. So that song, it was already pretty much out. I just liked the song and I was like, all right, my name's Juicy J. I'm gonna scratch this song. Juicy. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, you know what I mean? I'm just speaking my truth, how I felt when I was a kid. But you know, the older I got, I was like, you know, maybe I could have been exaggerating. I don't know, you know. I would say this: Memphis has a big sound. We've been making noise since the early '90s, and it's a
Mhm.
lot of people it's a lot of people that have took flows and took certain things and stuff like that, which I don't really care. You know, it's no big deal to me. That to me, that shit's petty, but it happened. You know what I mean? You know,
Yeah.
started a lot of the crunk music. A lot of people ran off with that. Whatever. I look at things like I look at the things like in life, like if somebody's going to take some stuff from you, you're doing something good. So if somebody's going to take something from me or steal it, whatever, a style or a flow, I can make another flow. You know what I mean? I'm super talented. I can make another flow, another beat, another whatever. You know,
Mhm.
so yeah, when I was young, I was like, oh man, this nigga's stealing my shit. Da, da, da.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And it seems like it's such a big deal at the time because you're
Oh
trying
yeah.
so hard to get where you need to get.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I was trying to, yeah, facts, facts. And you know, when you trying to create something that you feel like is yours and it's your own, and then you
mhm.
hear somebody do it, you know, that's why I took Notorious off of my name. When I heard that, I said, oh, well, scratch Notorious. I'm just call it Juicy J. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And it all worked out. Everything happens for a reason.
Yep, sure did.
Who has been your favorite artist to collaborate with and why?
Ooh, that's a lot of people, man. Jeez.
Was
I
there
really,
just like really magical moment that you had with another artist?
you know, it's a lot of people, but I'm gonna tell you something that was very, very legendary for me. When I did a song with this guy named Lamont Dozer. And
Mhm.
I did a song with him, but I did a song with Willie Hutch too. So I'll start with Willie Hutch. I did because I did a song with the legendary Willie Hutch, and we sampled a lot of Willie Hutch, and like we sampled him, and then you know we started making money, getting a name for ourselves. We flew him to Memphis, and I'm sitting there looking like this is the guy that we fucking sample and listen to all the time growing up. Now he's
Mhm.
in the studio with us and we're creating a song together. That was the most magical moment. He told me a lot of Motown stories because they wrote a lot of, Willie Hutch wrote a lot of songs for, I think he wrote some songs for the Supremes and Donna Ross back in the day. He did a lot of work with Michael Jackson and stuff like that. So I'm just like blown away by like, yo, man, this guy's a super, super legend and he's in the studio with me. And he was so musical talented. You know, he came to us. He said, "Hey man," he was listening to the beat. We had made this beat. He's like, "What key you in?" And we used to sample. And we don't, you know, we not all that keys and all that. We like key, like nah, nigga. We just sample, man. We don't be doing all the keys and like that. You know, we not really, you know, into the keys. You know, we mess around with the key, but we wasn't so like musical. Like we know exactly what key. We just played what we felt like sounded good. We didn't really worry about the keys and stuff. But that's just amazing to see how he was like, you know, trying to compose and help produce the song. And then we had these females in the booth, and he was like, "Oh, y'all not singing correctly." Go, he was doing all that little,
Right, right, right.
you know what I'm saying? Keeping them in key with the song, and it was just amazing to see how he worked. I was like, wow, this guy, you know what I'm saying? And he was like an old school guy. You know, he was retired pretty much, but he was still on his shit. You know what I'm saying? He
Awesome.
was by the keyboard playing the piano and stuff. I was like, all right, you
And
guys
who was
super
the
talented.
second person?
I'm sorry, what you say?
There was a second person before you went to him. There was a second person.
Lamont Dozer. Lamont Dozer wrote, oh my God, wrote everything. He wrote Stop in the Name of Love Before You Break My Heart. All those Motown
Uh,
hits. And so I got a chance to work with him too. And he was the same way. You know, he's super talented and cool as fuck. He told me a lot of Motown stories about him and David Ruffin and Marvin Gaye. Stuff that
Oh,
nobody ever heard before. You know, he told me they used to get high together and shit like that. He told me all kind of shit, the drugs they did. I was like blown away. I was like, wow. Like, man,
that is pretty
legends.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what have you mastered in this life and what remains a work in progress for you?
I'm gonna start with my work in progress. My work in progress is my kids, making sure they go to school, making sure they get a great education, make sure they're smart and respectful to people, and you know, just grow up and follow in their dad's footsteps. You know, take over the family business. You know what I'm saying? The wealth. Or do whatever they want to do. They don't have to be in music. You know, I'm gonna push my kids to do anything. Just be great kids. You know what I'm saying? Be great people in life. You know. And what was the other question?
And what do you feel you've mastered in this life?
What do I feel I've mastered? I feel like I don't lie. I feel like I've mastered everything in music. I feel like I could do any kind of music. I could do pop music. I could do Spanish. I could do, you know, Latin. I could do whatever. I could do Afro beats. You know, I could produce anything. And
Mhm.
in the beginning of my career, I always wanted to expand my production. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't like to be, I can't do the same thing. I'm not the type of artist, same snare, I can't, I
Yeah.
go crazy if I did the same thing. So I've always tried to elevate myself as an artist, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I think I've done it great. Now I can go in the studio and do whatever I want to do. So I've mastered that to the T. Like I can make a song of like this. I can, we could be on the phone.
Second nature, like breathing.
Yeah, it's nothing. You know, I do it in my sleep. Like this stuff is, it's like, it just comes to me. It's easy. You know what I'm saying?
Are you producing for anyone now or working on any project now that you could talk about?
Yes, I'm executive producing Ty Dolla Sign's new album. It's amazing. I'm executive producing and I'm producing some tracks on there. And Meg the Stallion. I got an album with this guy named Xavier Wolf, a rapper out of Memphis. He's super talented. We got an album called Memphis Zoo. And I did an album with Logic. Logic produced the whole album, and I just did the lyrics, and it's crazy.
Okay. And if you could travel back in time and change any famous historical event, where would you go and what would you attempt to change?
If I could change a few things, I probably would there's a couple of contracts I might want to sign too quick because we was very, very
Oh, okay. Historical event, but I guess that could be considered historical.
I mean, you said okay. I mean, that to me that's historical, you know, signing the contract. Historical. I don't think I would change anything as far as you want to think about the accomplishments we made in life, the historical, the good things, right? You know, I wouldn't change that. It's a few contracts I probably wouldn't have signed, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what do you think comes after this life?
Man, God, kids, man. You know what I'm saying? I got two beautiful kids, and I'm just trying to be the best father.
No, after this life.
Well, after we dead and gone.
After you're gone. Yeah. What do you think comes next? Or do you,
I don't know. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, listen, what comes next with like what my music or in this world?
Like where do you think we go from here? Like when we pass, like what do you think?
What do we think we go from here when we pass?
Yeah.
I'm going to heaven. I'm be up there with Tupac, man. We can be, you know what I'm saying? We can be turning up. We're gonna be up in heaven, you know.
It's so funny that you say that because the way that I came up with that question about if you could go back in time and change any historical event, what would you change? Is because I'm a huge Tupac fan and I've watched so many documentaries about his life. And I'm like, man, I fucking wish I could go to Las Vegas that night and like just make him stay in his hotel room or like make him not get into that fight in the lobby of the MGM Grand or like somehow keep him from getting killed. You know, like I was like thinking about that over and over and over again. I'm like, and that's what got me into that question. Like, if you could go back and any historical event, where would you go? But then I think, well, maybe he was meant to leave after 25 years. Like, I don't know.
Hey, if I could change like something like that, I'd probably go back to the 60s and tell Martin Luther King, do not stay in the Lorraine Hotel in Memphis. Matter of fact, don't come to Memphis at all, bro. Because Memphis is crazy. You know what I'm saying? They nuts. So I definitely would have told him that.
Good one. And my last question is, what do you think you came here to learn? And what do you think you came here to teach?
Well, I would say definitely I came here to learn as far as like my talent, my musical talent. And as far as my teaching is like helping others. You know what I'm saying? Helping others to elevate and inspire others. And I try to help people stay out of trouble, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I do a lot of times. I talk to a lot of young artists, a lot of young people, and they be asking me, man, how'd you manage to do this? And how'd you manage? You know what I'm saying? Nothing's easy. You know what I'm saying? Nothing's easy. Just, you know, take care of your mental health. Take care of that mental health. That's the first thing we need to start. And I talk about this in my book a lot. Got to get that mental health right. Because see, we all go through trauma and dramatic, all kind of situations in our life as a kid, growing up, and it affects us as adults. You know, so, you know, pray a lot. Hey, talk to a therapist. I got one. There's nothing wrong with that. And just try to, you know, stay focused. And it's not about the money and it's not about the fame. You'll get, you know, you trying to get that, you'll get what you're trying to get. But it's about this. If you got a clear head, I think you can accomplish anything in life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much for a great interview. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
You can listen to this entire episode and other interviews of mine by going to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and downloading and subscribing to the Allison Interviews podcast.